Hey guys, Papa Pete the Old Guy Gamer here, and I'm so happy that you decided to do a show where you got everybody's top 10 Intellivision games. I love Intellivision, as you know, my channel, Papa Pete the Old Guy Gamer on YouTube. I'm working on a series right now I called it the 125, where I'm going to try to do a review and a gameplay video on each one of the 125 original games for the Intellivision. So when you decided you were going to do this, I thought that what a great opportunity. So Paul, Rick, C-Mart, thanks a lot for doing this. It's absolutely awesome. One little disclaimer though, of course, I'm doing the 125 and I'm only like 14 or 15 games into it. And even though this is going to be my 10 favorite Intellivision games, you know, that list is actually pretty fluid. I think they've changed. Some have come on and off it over the years, so I'm going to include a few honorable mentions as well. And they've been on the list at different times and off the list. And frankly, it's not going to give any spoilers for the 125 in my ratings, because we all know what the good games are. We all know what the weaker games are. And the fact that they're my favorite doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get the highest ratings of all the games. There's going to be some very highly rated games in the 125, which really aren't on my list of favorites. But anyway, without any further ado, let's take a look at the first game.
Number 10.
And the first game that I'm going to pick, number 10, is Utopia. What a classic game. The God game genre started with that, with Don Daglow. And I just absolutely love that game. I can remember playing it way back in the day with my brother-in-law. And I don't know, it's just special. It started the whole genre, like I said. And even though maybe it isn't, the individual buildings don't do quite as much as we would like them to do, but it really... we didn't know that at the time, so we were really quite strategic with it, whether we're for better or for worse. And truth be known, maybe it was just the world's first fishing simulation. I don't know.
Number 9.
Anyway, my second favorite game, or I should say number 9 on my list, is Demon Attack. And that was a great port in the Atari 2600 when they brought it over to the Intellivision. They added a few things to it, and I absolutely love the fact that you could have a boss stage with it. It was not the smoothest thing in the world to play as far as the movement goes, but at the end of the day, it was fast-paced, and it just made a really, really good use of the Intellivision system.
Number 8.
And on that note, number 8 on my list is another Magic title, and that's Atlantis, which came out at the exact same time as Demon Attack. I can remember waiting for these two games, and we got them both at the same time. And Atlantis, again from the Atari 2600, was a great game, but it added that element with the flying saucer in the Intellivision one that was just so much fun. How much do you use your saucer? Do you wait till the nighttime to use it? Do you try to save the energy for when you need it the most? It was so strategic, because I finally used to try to use a saucer too much and I'd lose it. I wouldn't have it by nighttime, and it was so hard at night with the guns.
Number 7.
Anyway, number 7 on the list is one that's been really prominent lately on the old Amico scene, with Tommy just releasing the big gameplay video on New Year's Day, and that's Astro Smash. What a fabulous game, Astro Smash. My number 7, I'm going to say 7 favorite, even though it's one that I've really picked up maybe more to play than some of the other ones, because frankly it's a game that's kind of easier to play in emulation and in other situations, because the controls are relatively simple, except for the hyperspace. But anyway, Astro Smash was incredibly fun back then, and I just can't wait, because if you've seen that Amico demo, that's absolutely amazing. So, pack-in title, unbelievable. Pack-in on the Amico, and it's going to be a wonderful game.
Number 6.
All right, number 6 is one that I've already done on the 125, and I gave it a pretty high rating, because I really do love the Magic game Microsurgeon. Getting a little bit of a pattern here. Microsurgeon, or Magic, is just, they made quality titles. Bottom line is that. And Microsurgeon was something totally thinking out of the box when Rick Levine did it. Man, I don't know. It's a beautiful looking game. It's kind of difficult to play at times, especially you crank up the difficulty, but there's hours and hours of fun still to be had there in 2020.
Number 5.
Now for the number 5. And that, I'm going to say this right now, 6, 5, and 4 were really tough to decide, but I could have put them in any spot, to tell you the truth. But I put it here, it's number 5, and it's Bomb Squad. The first IntelliVoice game I got on my list of top 10s. It was such a fun game to play. The voice of Frank, was it Frank, right? No, was Frank the guy helping? I can't remember. Whatever. The voices in this game are excellent. You really do need them, of course, to play the game. And it used to get your nerves up. We play at harder levels with the screen shaking and the sirens going and the panic in the voices. It was just intense and so much fun to play. And it was really exhilarating when you did manage to beat it at those harder levels. Not that I did all that often.
Number 4.
So that gets me to number 4, which could have been anywhere else on there, but I had to put it in at number 4, the other IntelliVoice game on my list. So I guess that spoils the other ones, doesn't it? It is B-17 Bomber, and it doesn't get any more iconic than that southern drawl. When you put in the IntelliVoice for the very first time, I can remember in 1982. My brother-in-law got it for Christmas. I spent a lot of time over at my sister's house growing up. And I can remember when we hooked up the very first time and heard that southern drawl.
Mattel Electronics presents B-17 Bomber.
Read through the instruction book and took off and started playing the game. It was just something we'd always dreamed of. Because at that time, something that realistic just didn't exist. So, man, it was a lot of fun. My brother-in-law was a big World War II history buff. And I don't know, it was just, it not only is fun to play, but it brings back great memories.
Number 3.
Now, for my number 3 favorite game, this also quite sure happens to be Rick Reynolds' favorite game. And no, believe it or not, it's not Sharp Shot or Carnival, it's Space Battle. And Space Battle to me is a game that goes with the Intellivision. It's an iconic game on the system. When you think of the Intellivision, it's very difficult not to immediately think of 2 or 3 certain games like Major League Baseball. For me, Armor Battle too, because it was one of the first ones we got, and Space Battle. And Space Battle was in development long before they ever got the system released. And of course, you know, it was going to be, it still looked like the Cylon Wars, it was going to be Battlestar Galactica, but they didn't have the license, which I thought they were going to. Of course, they've just released a new homebrew, Battlestar Galactica Space Battle, which is excellent in its own right. Just a different game where it could have been at the time. But anyway, Space Battle is just a game that no matter what, you have to pick up and play every once in a while. It has an ending, and that's the most amazing thing, because not a lot of games at that point had endings. And this one, you're literally trying to save your mothership. So I don't know, it was just a lot of fun, and it still is fun in this day and age.
Number 2.
So now we're down to number 2, and again, I'm going to say, like I've said a couple times, that it's kind of fluid, my choices, but today this is what I've decided to put at number 2, and that is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Some people call it Cloudy Mountain, some people call it Crown of Kings, but to me it's just the original Advanced Dungeons and Dragons for the Intellivision, because that's the way it was when we got it. Again, I believe it was 1982 that we picked this up. We used to play actual Dungeons and Dragons, and when they announced this game was coming out, we knew we had to have it. And to be quite frank, there was nothing disappointing about this game. When we put it in and played it for the first time, whether it's the sound of the dragon and the faraway Cloudy Mountain rumbling, or the sounds that the snake makes, so the snake sounds still sort of get to me to this day and age, right? The sounds are just excellent in this game. And it's something that you can just put in and play, and you will have fun. And again, they're going to expand upon that, but they're trying to maintain that simplistic, just fun gameplay with the new rendition for the Amico, which we've seen some of it. Can't wait to see more. Hopefully it comes out when it launches, whatever that might be in the near future. Just can't wait. But for the time being, you know what? I would like to play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, the original for the Intellivision. I mean, I just can't get enough of it. It's beautiful. So next up, I want to go through a couple before I go to my number 1, a few honorable mentions that are great games in their own right, but just don't crack the list today. Maybe if I played them a little bit more, they would probably crack the list a little bit, But it all depends on the day and what I've been playing lately. But let's talk about, first of all, Star Strike. I still remember Star Strike was a great game. Of course, it was the trench run from Star Wars. It was very poorly hidden, but it was just fantastic. And then was Tron Solar Sailor, because a lot of people don't have a big love for that game because you had to have a pen and paper with you when you played it. But Keith Robinson's baby, and I really enjoy Tron Solar Sailor, even though it's got to be one of the most frustrating games going with those recognizers hauling you back to the higher tracks. Space Armada was a great rendition of Space Invaders clone, and Space Spartans for the Intellivoice was also very good, but sometimes just the hesitation in the control that was a little bit more in Space Spartans than it was in Space Battle makes me actually enjoy Space Battle that much more. Space Spartans I always sort of put down on the list a little bit, but that being said, I picked it up and I played it for hours on end, and I really do enjoy playing the game. Now, another game that I really like, I want to put it as an honorable mention, I got a lot of honorable mentions, don't I, are the two-player games, a couple of two-player games that I just didn't get to play enough. I mean, this is one thing I'm looking forward to with the Amico. I know we aren't going to have online play yet, but that's why I'm really, really hoping for some peer-to-peer play, because I want to be able to play these original Intellivision titles when they come out against people from other parts of the country. Or basically just against my friends, you know, people who also love the Intellivision games, because frankly, it's kind of difficult to find people to play against with these two-player games. But I really enjoy Sea Battle. I don't know that the last time I've played a good game of Sea Battle was somebody who I wasn't trying to teach how to play at the same time, and that's just not as much fun. Then you have Major League Baseball. Yes, we have World Championship Baseball that you can play against the computer, which is awesome. But Major League Baseball, the very original, head-to-head, when two people really are good at the game, there's nothing more fun than that. And the last one I'm going to mention as an honorable mention is Triple Action. And that's almost strictly because of Biplanes. Because Biplanes game is just amazing. I love watching that video of the original Blue Sky Rangers when they had that tournament in the office. And again, it's one of these things that, yes, you can sort of teach somebody how to play and play a game against them. But until they put the hours in, like sort of I did as a kid or some of the other people around have done, it's not really going to be all that fair. So that's, again, why I'm sort of hoping that through the Amico, we may be able to do some peer-to-peer with these original games to get some good matchups.
Number 1.
So last but not least, let's go on to my number 1 favorite game of all time. I think you might have figured it out by now. I do talk about it quite a bit. I have not covered it on the 125 yet. And that is Tron Deadly Discs. We got this game all at the same time we got the Intellivoice games, the same time as we got like AD&D. And this was right when the movie came out. We had seen the movie, we knew the games were coming out, and we had to have this game. And it did not disappoint. I just love playing that game. There's nothing more ominous than the very first time you see one of those recognizers come out and you have to try to figure out how to take it out. Even once you know, it's not always that easy. I've seen a lot of people online who are really excellent at the game. And I do pretty good myself, but I play a blocking game quite a bit. There's just so many elements within this game, varieties such as the different enemies that run around, the different weapons or discs that they shoot. Man, it's just overall, it's a fun, crazy game to play. Anyway, let's hope that Amico gets that license, because I'd love to see the Tron games brought over to the new system. Anyway, guys, thanks to all three of you for making such a great podcast. I love the Intellivisionaries Podcast. I've listened to every episode. It took me a while before I found it. Then when I went to catch up, well, you know, people say, hey, is that the best podcast that's ever been made? I don't know, but I think it's the longest. But anyway, guys, right now you have that very perfect East Coast, West Coast balance. And you've added a perfect little bit of Canadian into that mix to make it that much better. Anyway, guys, thanks for doing this. I'm Papa Pete, the Old Guy Gamer, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Hey, it's Paul Nurminen, or Nurmix, from the Intellivisionaries Podcast. I'm also part of the Amico development team.
Intellivision.
And you're watching Papa Pete, the Old Guy Gamer.